today's video, I am showing off how I made this timer system using Asio and C++. And this is for my game called Fight Poker, an online 1v1 poker game. And I had to redo my entire Threadpool system to get this working, but I'm excited to show off what I've done. So the first thing I did was change Fight Poker a little. As before, you would play all your cards at once, and so would your opponent, and then you'd both reveal at the end. However, now you play one card, and then your opponent plays one card, and then it comes back to you. And you can see the back of the card, so you know where it's placed, but you don't know what its rank or suit is. So before I could add the timers, I had to redo my entire thread system for the game. So originally, what I had was I had this vector of threads, and when I created the server, it would just create a bunch of threads, and they would wait on this queue, and then I could send functions to that queue to be processed. And this works fine. However, the issue is since each thread is just a regular thread, I can't tell the thread to sleep without affecting other games relying on that thread. So once I have more games than threads on the computer, which would be very likely, then the thread starts sleeping, which starts blocking other people's games. So to fix that, what I did is I switched from using the threads from regular C++ to using the Asio Threadpool. Now I was already using Asio for my multiplayer connections, but I could just very easily take out the thread pools that I had made and put them in. And when I mean easily, with like 50 bugs of course, but once all that was fixed, I could send messages to the thread pool using Asio Post, and it would work the same as a regular thread pool. However, now I had access to all of the Asio wait and timers, which did not sleep the entire thread. So with all that done, I moved over to the client side, where I started working on adding features to display timers. So I moved the enemy's name from the top right over to the top left, and now on the right side of the screen I can display a time for both you and your opponent. And right now it's just set to 5 and it doesn't change as the server node doesn't interact with timers yet, but this is just all the display information. So the last thing I did was finally add all the timers in. So I added 2 timers, an attack timer and a player timer. The attack timer is inactive for most of the match and it only shows up when both sides are compared and points are scored, and this timer always sets for 6 seconds. And whenever this timer is triggered, it sleeps the other timer, the player timer, and it also cancels it. And then the player timer, this timer has a variable time it waits, and what it will wait is it will wait the shorter distance of the 2 players' times. So if one player has 30 seconds and one player has 8 seconds left, it will wait 8 seconds, as this is the minimum amount of time before someone could get out from a time. So it will wait 8 seconds, and when this timer is done, it will run this update timer function, which what this does is when it's called, whoever's turn it is, it will subtract the current time from the time that was last recorded. So it starts once at the first thing in the match, and then each time update timer is called, it is moved to that time, and it uses those 2 points in time to find how much time has elapsed, and it subtracts that from the current player's time. Then it will call check timeouts, which checks if either player has hit 0 seconds, and it will return true or false for that, and if someone had hit 0 seconds, they lose the match and their opponent wins. So all this in a loop, these 3 functions, the player timer, update timer, and check timeouts all work in a big loop where the player's timer will start, it'll count down for whoever has the lowest amount of time, and then until that timer reaches its end goal, or a player plays a card, which also triggers update timer, and then once update timer is triggered, it will check if the turn has been passed. If it has, it will subtract time based on how much time they spent, and then if they hadn't and the timer naturally ran out from player, it'll just subtract all the time, which means that they timed out. And then it uses check timeout to check that, make sure that they timed out, and if they do, they lose. And with all of them combined, it looks like this. Alright, I hope you enjoyed that video, and if you wanted to see why I was working on timers, you should check out this video where I explain the main takeaways that I took from making Fight Poker a public demo for a week. And until next time, see ya.